Hey guys, Abner Miranda here. Today I'm on the range working on videos, and I wanted to show you guys something. This is called the COBRA stock. It's from FAB Defense, and the way it works is with one finger, you hook the rear of the stock, you pull, and it folds out and locks open, and then you can get on your gun. Now, let me go ahead and address the big issue that I know that some of my viewers are going to have. This renders your pistol as a short-barreled rifle. It forces you to have to register it with the NFA. There are two reasons why I still, and yes, this is a registered SBR. You guys have seen this pistol many times before. I still contend that this is some of the most valid stuff on the market. What I mean by that is, well, let me just do it bluntly. If PDWs, pistol-based PDWs weren't so valid, the military would not have just recently adopted the B&T weapon that they did. Anyone who understands vehicle work, truly close CQC work, will know that when you're dealing with confined spaces that are very, very tight, very small, conflicts that require you to just get around a corner and there's your threat, you want to have a very tiny weapon that allows you to do that cleanly, to work all the angles and not have to constantly be dealing with a long rifle. And of course you guys have seen this one. This is the GS17. This was my favorite until the COBRA came around. It's a good setup. It extends out, and so now you've got the handgun in a good position. You can still get close to 6 points of contact, which is going to be shoulder, face to the comb of the stock, shooting hand, support hand, elbow and elbow to the chest wall, and it's more doable here, right? But it gives you a full 6 points of contact, and you'd be amazed how incredibly accurate a handgun becomes when you're actually supporting it properly. I'm still aiming and hitting pretty much the same exact place where I'm looking. So I've had shots with this where I just basically snap it up and pow, 100 yards, ding, and people are like, what? Forget that this is a handgun. Once you do this to it, it starts behaving like a rifle, which is why this really makes more sense than anything else. I mean, you go all the way down to an MP5K. You go all the way down to an MP7. You're talking about smaller, infinitely lighter, and with 21 rounders or 30 rounders, you're talking about a lot of firepower on board. But this is still kind of on the long side. I'm telling you, man, when this thing came around, I was taken by it because I immediately saw it for what it was. All of a sudden, the weapon still has the functionality, but it has now lost 2/3 of its size, 2/3 of its length. And the concern that I had was all PDW adapters for Glocks, when the stock folds over, you've essentially added an extra third in width. Well, you're not really adding anything because look, when the stock is folded over, the weapon is still just as slim as it always is as a handgun, because the hinge point here actually puts the stock mechanism in line with the entire handgun. So I'm going to this effort to show this to you guys because I want you to understand this is not a range toy. And so often we see these types of setups with some guy standing there sticking 33 rounds on a Glock 18 and going, bah, oh, that's friggin' awesome, and someone hands him another mag. And so what happens is we see these as nothing but range fun gun toys. This is a really valid tool for self-defense because remember, this can be holstered. You can actually just lock this right down into a holster because what's in the way? The stock is hanging onto the rear, right? Holsters hang on to this portion of guns. They don't hang on to this portion of guns. So this can go right into a holster and lock in. Aha, now you're really beginning to see the validity of this. When the stock is in a closed position, you can still get mags past the stock. So every design consideration has been made to make sure that you can still work with this weapon as a handgun without anything getting in your way. If you can't tell, I really like this thing, and I want to thank ZFI Inc. for sending it to me because they reached out to me when they came upon my GS17 video. I believe the person that I talked to at the company said that he was looking for data on the Glock stock and stumbled on my video, And basically, essentially the conversation came down to this. He basically said, you get it. I'm like, yeah, I get it. I've been doing this for a decade. Guys, I've been doing this since before it was cool to do this. I got this a long time ago. I fully understood a decade ago that a handgun with a forward grip and a stock was probably the most valid tool for CQB, specifically vehicle CQB, because I've done a lot of vehicle training, and I'm telling you, a 10.3 inch Mark 18 is pushing it in a vehicle. 7.5 is better, but a 7.5 is so blazing loud in a car that even with hearing protection, it is unreasonably uncomfortable to fire inside of a vehicle. Handguns, with all honesty, are not all that terrible inside of cars. Yes, they're stupid loud, but they are not like make you bleed from your eardrums kind of loud. But even more than a 7.5, this right here gives me the ability to get around the, if I were sitting up front, the A post of the vehicle, I can be completely up and to the shoulder and firing, I guess about that far from the windshield. I can be full up and firing through the windshield of the car, and I can also get out of the vehicle and still be muzzle up, as opposed to compressing, dragging the weapon up high to get out of the vehicle and having issues as I bail out of the vehicle. So guys, I'm telling you from fact, from experience, from a lot of training, I have been doing this for a long time. When I was at the class, the look on his face when I showed him the Glock 17, the GS17 as I call it, with a stock on it, dude, he was instantly taken by it. And here's why. Because Chris Costa gets it. Because Chris Costa's done enough vehicle work to go, that's a solution. That's a real solution. And by the way, the COBRA brace, which ZFI Inc., by the way, I should tell you, is a worldwide distributor for FAB defense products. So if you want a company that's going to get your products efficiently, go to ZFI Inc. When you register at ZFI Inc., you get a permanent 10% discount on everything that you buy.